Hi guys, Scotty here with another DBZ Dokkan Battle video for you. In this video, we're going to be looking at Stage 12 of Union Master, and I know it's late, no one's really playing this content maybe at the moment, but I just did have the video and I thought, let me just get it out. I've got the team I used on the left there. I got a second team that hopefully, if you can't build the exact team, can build that one. Does incorporate some of the same units as my team, but yeah, did my best with different leads and what you can do with this fight, because it is not the easiest fight. So there is Gogeta ramps up quite hectically in the last fight. It's pretty easy, all the way up to sort of our Lord and Savior Blue Gogeta, but we will get there. Let's talk about the first fight, TEQ Goku. He is going to grant immunity to being stunned, as well as nullify super attack ceiling effects. So he can still have his attack and defense lowered, but he shouldn't be too crazy. Looking at his stats, he's got 100 million health, so that is quite a starting point, and a 2.2 million damage super that he can fire off. So he will take out units that are not more current, so do watch out for that. He can hit pretty hard. All the units can hit pretty much quite hard in this fight. All the bosses, all the way up to Gogeta, and then Gogeta does a lot of damage, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. TEQ Goku, not too difficult. I'm not going to give too many tips on that, but that is how you defeat him. We're going to move on to AGL Vegeta quickly. Actually, before jumping on, I do just want to say something. Do try in the beginning of this fight. Obviously, it's multiple boss fights, but your rotations will carry through the entire time. So try get if you have the TEQ Frieza / Gogeta tag unit, try get them both onto one rotation each. See if you can. It should be pretty easy by the time you get to Gogeta. Gogeta's gonna be, by Blue Gogeta, you're gonna need that, because Blue Gogeta hits so hard. You're going to need to have that Frieza on rotation, and then what we're going to do, we'll talk about what we do with that, but just a little heads up, try and get the TEQ Frieza on rotation in each of your two rotations, so that you have one. If you don't have him, moot point, obviously. Get your Brolys. If you're running the TEQ Brolys, get them on rotation rather, so they can tank in slot 1. Otherwise, you do want that Frieza in slot 1 most of the time, and you always want one on each rotation so we can do the tactic for the end. Okay, let's move on to AGL Vegeta. Okay, so Vegeta ramps up his health a little bit, and his only mechanic is that he disables attack and defense reduction. He's going to have 150 million health, and now his super attack will raise his defense for a turn, so he will be a little tankier after he supers you. Again, he's doing a 2.2 million Ki Blast super, so nothing extra from the previous boss, and he's going to be pretty easy, especially if you have the TEQ Frieza that I was talking about, or the TEQ Broly really as well in slot 1. They are going to be type advantage, so you should blow straight through here, and this shouldn't be too difficult either. Now, just going over a couple of units in this team. The TEQ Broly should always be absolutely fine, especially in slot 1 most of the time. We'll talk about Gogeta, but slot 1, he's 76% damage reduction with guard, so he's going to be very tanky. This unit here, the PHY Janemba, sorry, I forgot his name for a second. PHY Janemba, he should be okay until we get to the later stages of the final fight. You might need to guard him a little bit, just always float him off, obviously. But after supering a bit, and that he can get quite tanky, and he has got a nice way of dealing with supers. He has a high chance of evading enemies' attack temporarily when receiving a super, and Ki Blast supers, he has a great chance of nullifying it. So that's why he's good in this team as well. And he should be absolutely fine. The AGL Frieza, the Ella one, he's very good for most of the fight as a slot 1 in that, except when you get to Gogeta at the end because of the critting. So yeah, that's just a little update on some of the units. Ideally at this point your rotation should be TEQ Frieza, AGL Frieza, and a float, and then TEQ Frieza again, TEQ Broly, and then a float. I would go into the final fight with those as your rotations. Alright, let's jump into Super Gogeta next. Okay, Super Gogeta ramps things up quite significantly. We have 150 million HP, so that's not too ramped up, and his super is 2.24 million, so again, not too different. but the difference is going to be the extra mechanics. He's going to be granting immunity to being stunned, and he sealing. He disables attack and defense reduction, and he gets an attack plus 10% with each turn passed up to 100%. So the longer he's around, the harder he's going to hit. So we do want to be pulling out our biggest damage units. Obviously, STR Broly, the LR1, is going to be amazing against this phase as well. I do still think he can survive in second slot, okay? I do still think floating him is probably wiser, but if you need to, you do not want to slot 1 him, but he can survive in slot 2 against these Gogetas, and he can do a huge amount of damage. He's so good for this fight, the amount of damage he does. Int Broly here can survive as well. He's not bad at all. Unfortunately, type disadvantage, so you do need to protect him a little bit and float him, but if you get the rotations right, you hopefully get to pop his domain at some point with that uncontrollable power restriction that he has, and that will give him guard 6% damage reduction, and he should be fine. Does have a chance to stun on his super, but we obviously can't stun here. So physical, again, like I was saying earlier, for physical Gogeta, for both of them, try have a tech freezer on each rotation if you have that unit, and you'll see why when we get to the blue rotation. We're pretty much going to try and nuke down Blue Gogeta with them in the third slot, taking all the damage possible, all the hits possible before they go off, and hopefully just finish them off. That is what we're going to do. So that is physical Gogeta, the Super Saiyan Gogeta. We're going to move on to Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, and it is now a completely different fight. So Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta is going to grant immunity to being stunned, nullify super attack ceiling effect, disables attack and defense reduction, defense plus 10 with each turn passed up to 100%, as well as attack plus 10% with each turn passed up to 100%, and he crits when launching a super attack. Ouch. So he's going to bust through a bit of your damage reduction, he's going to bust through a bit of your defense. It depends, generally is random, how much of that defense and DR these units will go through. Don't really have a stat for that, but it just depends. So generally units with guard are going to fare a lot better against crits, so do watch out for that. Just damage reduction units, so AGL LR Freezer is not great for tanking in this stage at all. Crits will destroy him, he will get obliterated, especially as Gogeta starts ramping up, so don't rely on that. See, what we're going to do here, what we're going to try and do here, is we are going to try get our Freezer unit here to tank for us. Now, I did make a bit of a mistake here, I wasn't paying enough attention. Put him at the end if you want to receive the most amount of hits, obviously. But I think what I was doing here was I knew we didn't really have enough hits in this turn to supercharge him enough to finish it out. So I was quite concerned with just having coming back on rotation when Gogeta's stronger and having AGL LR Freezer as one of my tanks, because you can see how well this tech freezer tanks those supers. That's a 4.5 million super, and with a crit. And tech freezer, he took that hit. He did take quite a bit of damage in the beginning, 120,000 I think it was, but on that second it was only 30,000, and he's only gonna get stronger as he takes more hits. So it's that combination of guard, damage reduction, and his defense going up. Those are the only units that can really survive really strong crit supers, not just damage reduction and a little bit of defense units. They need that guard to survive the crits. So it's okay to float off this AGL freezer. And yeah, I would definitely don't rely on him to survive the supers, because he won't. Gogeta is going to have 250 million health, so he's ramped up again significantly. 4.5 million super, like I did say, and you want to kill him as quickly as possible, because he is going to have he's going to get pretty scary pretty quickly with his 10% defense and attack each turn. So yeah, now you can see how nice it is for us to have this taunt. So yeah, I hope you have saved it for this last event and this last fight of the final event. If you can see that there are a big amount of attacks coming from Gogeta, and this does happen. See, there are a lot in that second slot. It is probably safe to just put Frieza into that third slot there and let him do his thing, and he probably will finish off the boss for you quite quickly, because he gets supercharged by those attack. He gets an extra 150% attack per hit he takes. So if you taunt, put him in the final slot, then you're going to be good. Just watch out. If there's only like 4 or 5 attacks that are going to hit him, then you're not going to kill Gogeta. You're going to come back then to this rotation, and you're not going to have him to help tank against an even more powerful. So you got to kind of see how many attacks are landing, and if it's 8, 9, 10, then be like, okay, great, now I need to taunt, put him in the third slot, and let him kill Gogeta, and that should pretty much wipe out Gogeta for you. Along with the help we are getting from SCR, Broly here, unfortunately, not getting that crit, which would have been absolutely clutch, would have done so much more damage on his Ultra Super, but otherwise he is very useful. And we'll see in just a second here how much damage this Tech Frieza is going to be doing to Gogeta, and how well he actually tanks, especially when he's got his taunt up. It is crazy. Yeah, he's still, I mean, that is a, what are we on, the second or third turn, so that's a 4.5 million super with another 20-30% on top of that, with a crit. It's pretty crazy, very cool, very tanky unit. And taunts are just the most incredible thing in this game for a unit to have. They are, yeah, help very much with things like this, especially when there are units in your team that are a little bit not so good. So 91 million, I'm pretty sure we just finish him off with these attacks here. You can see how much damage we end up doing there. And we're going to be critting. So yeah, this is a very fun tactic to to get rid of this fight quite quickly. And yeah, one more attack for us, and we are done. So that is how you get stage 12 of the stage 12 of Union Master done. Now, just a reminder that there are actually items in the game as well that you can just run that would have made it all easier. Don't ever feel guilty about using items. I use them all the time, sometimes in my runs on YouTube as well if I can't be asked. But yeah, so that is it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll check you guys in the next one. Goodbye.